Hey everyone, we are right now at Mammoth Cave National Park. This is the second hiking video that I've shot so far, so if you didn't watch the first one where we went into Mammoth Cave before, go watch that video first, because that's going to give you some context for some of the things that I'm going to talk about on this hike. So we are right now about to embark on the Green River Bluffs Trail and the River Styx Trail, where we're going to go see some of the surface waterways that make their way into the cave here, that are still carving it out. So let's go see what we find. Okay, we've only walked maybe a tenth of a mile so far. We haven't gone very far on the Dixon Cave Trail. But look at this behind me. This is cool. So this is another entrance to the cave. It's another place where you could actually, climb down into the cave that we were in before, if you were on me with the last hike into Mammoth Cave. But you're not allowed to go in here. One of the reasons is they limit the number of people that go in and out, and they only do it through certain entrances to make sure that they're trying to protect the bats. So 95% of the bats that live in Mammoth Cave have died due to an invasive species, white nose syndrome, which kills bats. In the last video I explained exactly how. But you can see here, there's signs that tell you don't go exploring into the caves. But it's pretty cool that there's a cave right there where you could find your way down into Mammoth Cave from this different entrance. So I've climbed up to a viewing platform, and you can see even better this entrance to the cave down there. And in there are the Indiana bats that like to live in there, and that's where they hibernate. And I would imagine at dusk, you can probably see them flying out of here looking for the insects that they're going to eat at night. Okay, folks, so we've come to the Green River Overlook, and you can see the Green River is kind of brownish, greenish, right? I mean, it's named after the color. This is one of the most biologically diverse streams and rivers in the United States. So I'm right here next to a sign that says that there is over 100 species of fish and 41 species of freshwater mussels down in this river. So I want you to think about food chains and food webs, right? Every time you find an organism in an ecosystem, you can ask yourself, what eats this and what does it eat? And that's how we can build a food chain and a food web. So with all of those different kinds of fish and mussels down in there, think about it. What eats those fish and mussels? And what do those fish and mussels eat? Right? And that's how you can start to build a food web or a food chain for the Green River. But the other cool thing about this river is that it has lots of different tributaries that feed into it. And each of those tributaries carves the limestone underneath in the same way that we were talking about before when we were down in Mammoth Cave, carving that cave further and further and creating more miles of trails. There's already over 400 miles of tunnels in Mammoth Cave, and there's just more and more being created all the time as this water dissolves that limestone. So we're almost at the River Styx, but we came across this gulch, and I think I stopped here because this is a great example of erosion. And erosion is going to come into play with what we're going to talk about in a minute. But you can look, every time that it rains heavy and this fills up and the water flows down here, it cuts just a little bit deeper. It makes this ravine just a little bit further down, a little bit deeper, because it erodes down and it washes some of these rocks down to the Green River that's down below us. So as we're walking, we're headed, like I said, towards the River Styx, S-T-Y-X. And when we get there, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it. But what I want you to do now is the River Styx, again, S-T-Y-X, was named after a river in Greek mythology. So the ancient Greeks had their myths and their legends about deities, about gods that they believed in, that they worshipped. And the River Styx was part of that part of that belief system that they had. So I want you to do some research and find out a little bit about the mythical River Styx from Greek mythology first. And then what I'm going to do when we get to the River Styx here in Kentucky in Mammoth Cave National Park, I'm going to ask you why you think it was named after that river in Greek mythology. So see what you can find. I'll talk to you in a minute. All right, we've made it to the River Styx, and you can see it starts in that cave. So the River Styx is actually an underground river, even though we're outside right now. And it flows out of Mammoth Cave right here, right into the Green River, which is just about 100 yards down, down from us here. So I asked you before to research and find out about the mythical River Styx from Greek mythology. And what you should have found out is that it is a river that connects the underworld with the actual world. So you can understand why this River Styx was named after that, because it starts underground and then finds its way out. So we're going to head back up now. So we're up on top of the gorge now. And as I've talked about in other videos, the Green River keeps making this gorge deeper and deeper as it goes through. So I want you to think about the last video we were in when we were in Mammoth Cave. And you could see there was no underground river there anymore. And what the park ranger had told you is that the river was now 250 feet below in a different cave. So what happened, and you can imagine this, is that millions of years ago, when the Green River was much higher in this valley and this valley wasn't as deep, the tributaries of the Green River and the Green River itself would flow underground, carving that massive passage that we saw when we were in Mammoth Cave. But as the river kept cutting deeper and deeper, it started to erode different layers of the limestone, opening up new passages in the cave. And that's why the River Styx is now down below, carving out new passages in the cave, rather than the main caverns, the main cave that we were in today when we were exploring. Hope you enjoyed this hike on the Green River Bluffs Trail and the River Styx Spring Trail here at Mammoth Cave National Park. Stay curious, keep exploring.